Hello, RSL. So, this is going to be. It's technically a prequel to this video that just came out, but we'll ignore that for now. This is a new, tutorial almost video for both RSL as well as Sluggers to really help inundate the new players that might come in. And veterans, it'll also help you understand some draft stuff, since I see there is a couple confusions about the changes coming into Season 5, and because of how well they've kind of been received by some players, and the other players who are neutral on it, I don't know if they fully understand it to be able to make an opinion. So I'm hoping this video will be good to help them, and for them to ultimately, say one way or another if they like it, if they don't, and see what we would maybe change for Season 6. But let's start off with the basics. What is Mario Sluggers? Mario Sluggers is a 2008 Wii baseball game filled with Mario characters. And it really has three cool, unique things about it. One being the Mario characters. It's 70, I believe it's 71 base characters, and then there's the Miis that fill out the rest of the lineup. There's the stadiums, which vary wildly in gimmicks and other nonsense. And then the third thing is kind of the character gimmicks, the abilities, the star power, all that other stuff. So let's get into the characters, as I think they're the most interesting to talk about. So characters are split up into captains and non-captains. And every game, when you want to play, you pick a captain, and then you fill out the rest of your team. You can have captains filled on the rest of the team, and everyone needs a captain to play the game. So we'll get into draft. Like, when I'm explaining draft, I'll let you guys know how the ruling around captains goes. But everyone will have their captain and build their team, and then from there you're off to races. So I won't be explaining the non-captains. I'll go into some depth about the actual captains, since they're very important. If you want an explanation on all of the characters, and I gotta turn the music back on. Sorry. If you want an explanation with all of the characters, please go to the 2-hour video we posted and scrub through for whatever character you want to hear about. We tried to keep it more brief, but still, it's Jacob and I, so we spent a little over 2 hours working on that. So each character has 7 things about them. Captains have an 8th aspect to them, but we'll first start off with what's universal: synergy, anti-synergy, batting, pitching, fielding, and running. So all of these stats can be broken down further into this massive table, as you can see. It has a whole host of stats that you can go through, from your contact sizes, your actual power, your throwing speed, how each individual pitch is thrown, your stamina, as well as character class. Whole host of things. But for sake of brevity, we will just go over with this, as this does give you a solid understanding of what a character will do. So running is self-explanatory. It is your speed. It is how fast the character will go. And for all of these, the higher number is better. Fielding, it's how likely you are to drop the ball. This stat only matters on defense. It can be in any place in defense, but typically your outfield and infield need higher fielding. 4 is pitching. 4 is pitching. Next up is pitching, which this is one of the ones that pitching and batting, you absolutely should go into maybe the stat table to look at specifically what they're good at. But typically, they will do what they're good at more often than not. Pitching is how good they are on the mound. It's a mix of their speeds, how often they are to curve, and stamina. And finally, you have batting. This is just how hard they hit the ball. Sometimes this also matters with slap hits, like slap hitting is uh dog, can you not go away? Slap hitting is also determined in this bang thing. That's not really a power thing, but I don't believe we have any. We do have some slap hitting captains, so we'll get into that more. But typically, you charge up a hit, you're gonna go for a home run or a long shot. Slap hits are more shallow. And finally, we have the chemistries. Now, having positive chemistry unlocks three things for you: the item cannon. It means you throw faster to whoever you have chemistry with, and you unlock the buddy actions. So first, going over the buddy actions, there's two, and this only really matters for outfield. It's buddy toss and buddy jump. Buddy toss is where one character will dash into the ball. It will get knocked up into the player they have chemistry with, and they will do a really fast throw. This is typically used by the AI, as we have CPU v CPUs, but we'll get into more of that in the formatting of RSL, where they will throw it straight to home. But you can technically throw it to any of the bases, and we've seen double plays happen where they do that and throw it to where they get a good catch and throw it to first. And the other thing that happens way more often is buddy jumps. This is when a home run is trying to be achieved, but two characters with chemistry will run next to each other and one will toss the other into the air, attempting to catch it. And that is by far the most important thing that you need to know about this game. You have to have your outfield synergy. Otherwise, you are going to get dogged on. We've seen teams with no outfield synergy just completely collapse. Namesake in season 4, the Blues, where they actually weren't a like terrible team. They had some like bad players, but the biggest hindrance they had is they had no outfield synergy, or at least not in the right field. And any right field home run got scored, like just nothing was able to happen afterwards, and that's why their games were never close. Every other game, even if the team like wasn't going to win or like had such a disadvantage, at least was able to keep it close because they held that outfield synergy. And my microphone got knocked out. I really need to figure out this thing before the next season. And the other thing chemistry unlocks is the item cannon. So to explain this and to reconnect the audio, I'm going to look here. So as you can see, Funky Kong and Diddy Kong have synergy. You can look via the list, but for here, you can see the little notes. What this means is when Funky Kong is up to bat, Diddy Kong will be on the item cannon. He will launch out one of 6 items randomly determined at time of pitch thrown. These items include, and I'll go from, this is kind of an objective ranking, but I'll go from what I believe is worst to best. Worst is the bomb. It is a item that when thrown, it has a short activation time, and it will blow up. The problem why I think it's so bad is the AI never throws it preemptively, so it's always kind of just sitting there, and is only used for one of the gambits. Bomb, and we'll see a little next up with bananas, where basically you throw it, and it tricks the AI into dashing into it, even though they are safe, which can potentially save a pop fly. Next up, as hinted to, is bananas. You throw out 5 bananas, spaced out. Typically, they're not very good at aiming it, and a lot of times they throw out so many. It's 5 bananas. The area is so weird that most of the time it actually hits your runners, and at that point, it's just like you can get double plays off of that. Next up, I'm gonna say it's tough because like those are the only 4 that I think aren't very good. I think the other 4 are like really good, but we'll go with most likely to cause harm to your players, and I'm gonna say it's the POW block. Really big range, but that's the problem. Is when you throw it, everyone in the range gets stunned. If you throw it directly on the person, they get stunned for longer, but won't have the AoE stun. Flying characters are immune to it, which I don't believe are any captains, so we won't go over that, but feel free to check out our character rankings. Or look at Paragoomba. He's got wings, so he is one of those characters. But it will stun everyone. Why I think it's probably lesser is most of the time, because the area is so big, you can often hit your own runners with it, because items do have friendly fire. And if you do, defenders always recover faster than batters. And that can sometimes be an issue, where you can still get an out can still be caused by use of POW block. Next up, I'm going to say it's the fireball. The fireball, you throw 3 fires out and they curve. The only reason this one I'm putting it slightly lower is because sometimes it can shoot over and it's really tough to hit the fireball. But it's still a really good item and it can save so many plays. Next up is the boot. It turns the ball invisible. Defenders will not run towards it. It's really good. Really bad if you... It's really good if you get it in a scenario where the ball is going far or it's about to be caught out, but it gets popped so the defender stops running in range to catch it. Or if it's a really good hit and you're able to get more bases because the defenders are much later to the ball. The only problem with it is that it is almost completely useless in pop fly situations. Yes, you technically can bobble it, and you're more likely to bobble it with the boo, and we've seen it once before, but we've seen it once within the last 4 seasons of RSL, which that's main season, that's what? Roughly 160 games, even more so, because it's it's even more than 160. Roughly like 200 games, we've seen it once. So it's really bad in pop fly scenarios. And finally, by far the best item, because there's not a scenario where you don't want this, it's the shell. It's very easy to aim. It's very fast, so it's probably always going to land on its target. It's kind of uncounterable. You need to attack the shell, which is even risky, because if you do it too early, you get hit. If you do it too late, you get hit before you even go for it. And it can cause those buddy jump, the like gambit scenarios, while being an actual like threat. Overall, really good. We have seen some collaterals, but mostly it's a good item that you're never complaining about. So those are what you get out of, so that's what you get out of your chemistry. Now, anti-chemistry is 2 things. One, you throw slower to the players, and you also have the chance to throw wild, which means you'll throw either way left or way right, and they'll have to really run to get it. And sometimes you're able to still catch it, but I've seen times where they anti-synergy, and this mainly happens with people who throw really fast, where they completely throw it wild and give up like 2 bases. And that was rough. I think that was like Bowser throwing to like DK, I think. Maybe not DK. I forget exactly who. Bowser definitely threw it to someone. It might have been a Toad. But regardless. And that's kind of what every character has. There's the full list here for all of this stuff, but what isn't listed here is what I really want to get to with the captains. And it's 2 things. One, it's the star hits and pitches. Now, each captain has their own special star hit and or pitch, which it's determined by their class how likely they are to do it, but I'll still probably go over all of them. And the other thing, which all characters have these, are abilities. Most of the time they're less so important on captains because of a quirk with the AI, which we will we'll talk about more when we get to the RSL. But when a captain when pitching, the AI will just choose whoever to go up. No, we don't really know fully who they choose or why. At some teams, it just seems completely random, while others, it's like a consistent thing. But captains are always the first to go up there. So captains with really good fielding abilities, like Birdo and Yoshi, are less desirable because, well, their fielding ability means they'll go up to pitch. So it's a kind of weird scenario. But quickly going through captains, we have Birdo Traditional name is the Birdo Bows. They are impressive batter and pretty decent fielder. They have a range catch, which we'll get to. Watch the other video for it. But range catch essentially is really good for your infield. If you're playing an infield, you want someone with a range catch or a super dive to be there. Your Shy Guys, your Yoshis, your Hammer Bros, your Critters, right? Or Magic Koopas. All very important characters to have in your infield to really shut down cycle teams. Birdo, very good batter. What really makes Birdo desirable is her star pitch. Her star pitch is a guaranteed strike, no matter what. Which, it's pretty good in this league and can definitely lead to some good scenarios. Bowser has the exact same thing, guaranteed strike. Why is he better? As you can see, he's a slightly better pitcher at base. It's this 10 batting, though. If he hits the ball, it's probably a home run. If he charges to hit the ball, if he is starred, which is a mechanic we'll get to, he's knocking that out of the park so high no one can catch it. And there's only one other character that can do that, and that's King K. Rool. So those two are a little bit menaces. We get to Bowser Jr., really good pitcher and good base hitter. Junior, most notable, Junior does use both graffiti ball and swing a lot. Graffiti ball, it's about like 50% of the time a strike, 50% of the time a weak hit from the batter. The graffiti hit is a guaranteed base hit, as it will stun whoever lands on it, but he doesn't use that as often. Daisy, most noble thing about her, besides the fact that her power is actually really good, it's definitely having to do with her star pitch, which if hit, it's a guaranteed pop fly. Now, mind you, it can be saved with a whole host of items, but if she uses it against someone with no items, that's just an out. And most likely, people won't even run for it. Diddy Kong's most impressive thing is, again, the star pitch. He's a good fielder who's decently fast, but he's kind of a weak hitter, which does make him one of the least desirable captains. But his pitch is really good, as we'll see with like Luigi. It's almost Luigi and Bowser Jr., where their star pitches are most likely to just make the person miss, but even if they hit it, it's not gonna be that good of a hit. Most of the time we see pop flies. Every once in a while they get shoot further, but it really does stop like the really powerful hits from like Bowser, K. Rool. Donkey Kong, he has great batting. His barrel throw, it's weird. If hit normally, that's almost always a guaranteed out, as it shoots like nowhere. DK picks it up, immediately chucks it first. But if you're looking at his but the weird thing about his star pitch is some characters, and I think this just has to be a perfect charge to do it, you can break through his barrel and treat it as if he didn't even use a star pitch. It still lowers the power of it, but you can break through it and still get really good hits off of it, making it just an objectively worse Daisy hit. Luigi, as I said before, same star pitch with like Junior and Diddy Kong. Though Luigi isn't really stat-wise not that great. We're hoping with the buff to make him technique that he gets a lot better, but we'll see. Mario is just a all-arounder. He typically hits the ball and will just sprint. And we've seen some magic work from Mario. His star powers aren't that notable. He technically has a more extreme version of like Luigi's, Junior's, and Diddy Kong's, where it's more likely a miss, but if you hit it, you're not stopped as far for the fireball. And he like rarely uses his star hit. Peach never uses their star pitches, probably because their stamina is so poor. But she's an amazing pitcher and a pretty good fielder. Like, will rarely drop the ball, but her pitching is what really makes her like stand out above the crowd. Waluigi, good slap hitter, okay pitcher. It says an A, but he really does not feel like an 8 pitcher. He feels like a 6 or 7, but he technically does have the stats that make him an 8 pitcher. It's just his star pitch is rather weak. Wario, he hits the ball. He does do like star swings a lot, which is a guaranteed base hit, which is pretty cool, but for the most part, he will just charge up and go for a home run. And finally, Yoshi, the speediest of the captains. He is okay pitching. He is an okay fielder. His best attribute is he will most of the time be able to get on base. And that's just kind of all you're really hoping for out of Yoshi. His star pitch is not that good, but his star bat's also weird. It's inconsistent. What it is that he'll turn the ball into an egg, and it will bounce around 3 times. And each bounce is a random direction, which sometimes means it can bounce really far away, and sometimes means it bounces directly to a fielder, so they can immediately throw it. So, a kind of weird situation with him. And those are the main captains, each of them having their own synergies. And something new we're actually adding to Season 5 is you're able to choose an alternate color. You don't get that with Daisy or Donkey Kong, but you get that with the others. And hopefully we'll add one for those two soon. Well, soon as in next season. If you want a breakdown of like abilities and everything else, like I would say go to the Mario Sluggers wiki. I don't want to break down every single ability. Just know dives are super good for infielder. Clamber never gets used. And the dash skills are pretty... the dash skills, like... Who has it? Like King Boo's teleport, like Monty Mole's dig. They are okay, but not like game-changing. You typically want a dive. And quick throw is also pretty good. So moving on to the second to last thing about this game, as we've explained almost everything else. We'll return to captain select. Turn to maps. Now, there are currently 7 maps we allow in the RSL. This includes Mario Stadium / Luigi's Mansion, Daisy Cruiser, Ice Garden, Playroom Castle, DK Jungle, Wario City, and Yoshi Park. Now, each of these maps also have a nighttime variation, as you can see where we can access Mansion. The nighttime versions are typically more extreme versions of what the map already does. Mario Stadium, no change, and that's why we introduced Luigi's Mansion with it. Mario Stadium is just a normal baseball stadium. The only unique thing is that walls are pretty low, so it's a lot easier to home run on this map. Luigi's Mansion, very wide outfield with gravestones. If you open the gravestones, whether a ball hits it or an item hits it, it releases the ghosts inside. And if a defender spends a little bit of time within the area of the ghost, they will get stunned. But the biggest thing about about this map is really huge outfield, hard to hit home runs on. Daisy Cruiser, very short sides, but like average, like center. What makes this map interesting is in the daytime there's tables. They can sometimes have some weird interactions with how the CPUs want to run. But you look towards the nighttime for really diversity. That being the Cheep Cheeps, which will stun a outfielder if they run into it. Or the bigger thing is Gooper Blooper, who will spawn and tilt the ship. So one side will be lower, one side will be higher. And this has some like varying effects. If you take advantage of it, it could give you some very nice, easy home runs. If you don't, it can also really end your inning. And there's not really a way to be able to take advantage of it. You just gotta hope your players are on it. The most contentious map in the league. You either hate it or you love it. Peach's Ice Garden. It has ice physics. You run slower in this map. There are freezies that if you run into will freeze you, as well as having a pretty large outfield. So it's pretty hard to hit home runs on this map. The nighttime variation adds stars, where if you hit the star with the baseball, you turn off the lights and it has the same effect as a boo. No one will chase after the ball. And hitting a star is almost a guaranteed, like, depending on your speed, it's 2, 3, or hell, we've seen some characters get an inside the park home run just off of hitting there. Then we have Castle Playroom, two completely different maps. Playroom, it's high walls and some graffiti that if you hit it, it'll spawn it. That's typically not that important. The biggest thing is you have big walls. Castle is chaotic. There's fire everywhere. King Babam is throwing bombs down. Lava will spurt up from the ground. Typically, bad place to be in the outfielder. And there's a giant Bowser statue in the back that will spray fire every few turns, every few batters. And it's just a horrible time to be an outfielder. But it does also have, like, decently high walls, especially comparative. So it's not the worst map if for an outfielder, but it's still pretty rough. DK Jungle, another contentious map. It's contentious because this map is jank. The daytime variation has a barrel that will run through the field as well as some flowers. Picking up the or going near the flowers in the daytime will stun you briefly. At nighttime, you have the barrels faster. The flowers won't stun you. Instead, they'll make you throw the ball faster. And there's also a statue, a DK statue in the background that every few batters will hit the ground and attempt to stun whoever is moving. Now, the reason why this map is so jank has to do with the routes, which the CPU are very weird about getting around, but also the fact that there are some really weird home run spots. Some routes don't have collision, so the baseball will go through the route and it'll count as a home run. But most importantly, and most belovedly, pillar tech. There are two massive, and this technically is on other maps. This is technically on Ice Garden. It's technically on Yoshi Park. I believe Stadium has it. But basically what this is that there are two pillars on that mark the end of that mark the in-between of what counts as a home run and a foul. The thing about them, though, is that if you hit the pillars at any size, whether it's above the, like, normal threshold, even if it's gone foul and barely hits the corner of it, or if you hit the bottom of it, you get a home run. Man, is it a sight to see when that happens. Wario City has three main things. One, it has the walls in this one are basically non-existent. So tiny, if you're it's probably this and Cruiser are the easiest to hit home runs on. The center is shorter, and you also have to worry about two other things. And this is kind of what makes it, like, weird between, is this a slugging map, is this a cycle map, where there are arrows that if you hit, it will launch the ball. At daytime, it's not that much. At nighttime, it, like, shoots the ball wherever they're facing. Or there's geysers that will stun an outfielder if they walk through it. And it's just a fun map, because there's not really a team that's a bad city team, but we definitely see really good city teams. And this comes to our finale, Yoshi Park. Yoshi Park has two main gimmicks. One, there are piranha plants that will spawn out of pipes. This is at nighttime. There's piranha plants that will spawn out of pipes. They'll eat the ball if it gets near them, and they will go to a random pipe and spit it out. In daytime, the pipes don't have piranha plants, but you can still hit inside the pipe to have it bounce out. The more important part, and what comes up more often, as you can see, this little wiggler zooming around, there's a train. If the train kind of cycles around the edge of outfield, very often it will hit a defender and it will let a home run go through. It technically has a weird thing inside of it where if you hit the ball directly into one of the carts, that will score a home run. We've only seen that a few times, but it's always cool when it happens. But this is very much a bad time for outfield. At nighttime, he just goes faster. Okay. So I'm just gonna do that to reset the time before the music ends. Wow, we get the peaceful nighttime music. That's pretty cool. So, what is the RSL? As now you are well familiar with sluggers. The RSL is my league I created. It is an 8-player draft league where every Friday and Sunday after draft night, for the next 5 weeks, 2 teams will go up against each other, uh, 4 times each day. So Friday we'll see, 4 games with all 8 teams playing. Sunday is the same until we reach week 6, where the top 10 or the top 10 the top 6 teams will then enter a tournament, with the ultimate winner of that tournament being crowned the season champion. In season 1, we had my friend Max with the DK Wilds taking home the crown. In season 2, we had my fiance Alyssa taking home the crown with the Birdo Crits. In season 3, we had my own team, the DK Dreadnoughts, taking a astounding victory. To be honest, still know how I managed to get that team together. And in season 4, we saw newcomer Tyler take the Bowser Baddies home, for Bowser's first finals appearance and first championship. So, how do we start? So let's start with what happens. We start off the league with a draft. Thank you, all these ads. I love ads. I love ads. So we start off with the draft, and this draft is put into 2 phases. The first phase has to do with, and this is kind of where veterans, listen up. This is the draft lottery. Now, I have this pulled up on my end. Let me get this exactly correct. Bring up draft lottery. Welcome here. Ignore all the random other stuff I have here. So, we'll also ignore Andy's messages, because I try to explain it here, but we'll have a bigger explanation here. You know what? Can I just No, it's gonna keep the same thing. Awesome. So, what is here? If it's gonna do that, there we go. So, what is the draft lottery? This has to do with how you placed. So, Jacob placed first in the league, so he goes 8th. Tyler is 2nd, so he's 7th. Alyssa's 3rd, so she's 6th. Matthew is 4th, so he wound up being 5th. And then we get into the top 4. Now, these are the bottom 4 teams where I assigned each of them a percentage. Last place having the highest, and I rolled to see who gets what. This is where we wound up going with Salem, who was technically taking on the last, coming in place of the last place team. Wound up getting the first one. This was Andy, who got 7th place. But we'll talk later about why Jacob's up there 3 times, but that was Andy's spot. Ryan was the 5th place team, who got a little luckier than Jack and wound up stealing 3rd, and Jack, who had the 4th place. But as you can see, Jacob has taken 3 of them. So, what is the draft lottery? So, the draft lottery, it's a round of draft that happens before the main draft. And honestly, I think we're going to do it the same day. Yeah, we're going to do it the same day, but this is essentially how it goes. So we start the draft. And we just go down. Team 1 will get their pick, and Team 2 will immediately get the pick, even though they have some people here, which, if you're a veteran, you're like, what? That doesn't make sense. He should get skipped twice. And we'll get into that in a second. But each team gets their 1 pick, and then we do the season proper. The draft proper, which is a snake, as we will explain. So, in the draft lottery, after a season ends, you're able to attempt to keep some players. This is a percentage chance where Jacob and I will determine how likely a character is to return, and then well, we technically we changed it now where you tell us like who you want to keep, and then we calculate those odds to make it just easier on us. But we calculate those odds, we roll for it. This season, everyone except K-Roll was kept for Jacob, and I think that was really funny. But he was a little upset by that. But going into this season, using kept characters you can trade. So what happened was Jacob had kept 2 critters. I believe if we go here, go to announcements. Yes. So as you can see here, Jacob had kept the 2 critters. And what he decided to do was he traded Andy Red Critter for his pick 2 slot and Jack Brown Critter for his pick 4 slot. So now the opening's going to look like this, but now Jacob has 2 slots in the draft lottery. So he's picking 2nd, 4th, and 8th. Now, what does this mean for the draft proper? Now, after that's all done, we do the draft proper. This starts at team 1, goes to team 8, at which point they do 2 picks, and then we go 7, 6, 5, 4, back up to 1, who gets a double pick and goes down, and we continue there. Now, how this works, it's you have a certain, we're changing it, and I will make it very clear. Like, for instance, I will put your name and then how many skips you are getting. This also works out for... I really do not want to re-record this, so dogs, please shut up. This also has to do with the 2-cost captains, which we'll get to in a second. But we'll take a look at this example. So Team 1 will pick up Mario. Team 2 already has a character, Luigi, so they get skipped. Team 3 picks up Peach. Bowser, Toadette, DK, and Baby Daisy were all kept, so Team 8 goes. Team 8 picks up 2. Dixie Kong is here, so they get skipped. DK is worth 2 because of the cracked character clause, as you see here. Basically, if they're part of the top 5 characters in the league, they get a strike. 3 strikes, you become 2 costs. The only exception is if you get under 500 in a season, you lose a strike. Which happened with Purple Toad, who should be at 2, but he had a rough season too, so he went back to 0, and this season he got another 1. But these are the 4 that cost 2. Green Critter is out of the league at the moment, so it's really just Bowser, Petey, and DK. Oh, wrong. Oh, my apologies. I'm gonna flashbang you guys there. So because of that, we skip over Team 6. Toadsworth is here, Bowser is here, so Team 3 goes. 1 gets a double, and then we keep going down. Bowser costs 2, so we skip him. And then finally, Team 6 goes, and we keep going until we eventually everyone drafts the same amount of characters. So inherently, some teams with the better characters will have less options, as well as they also pick much later within the draft. Now, the question that comes up is when you have, let me reset this. When you have the scenario where Jacob here, let's say Jacob here, who had, where are the critters? Please, I believe the critters, yes, here. So let's say we had a scenario here where Jacob had the 2 critters, gave 1 to Andy and 1 to Jack. I don't know if this is their positions, but, just roughly. Does that mean Jack and Andy are going to have to get an extra skip? And the answer is no. Jacob gets 2 skips because that's how many he kept. So he will get his 3 immediate picks because of draft lottery. But then when we go into the actual draft, he will still have to consume his 2 skips before continuing onward. And Andy and Jack don't have to worry about having this as an additional skip. Jack goes straight away because he kept no one. Andy just gets the 1 skip because he kept Red Magic Koopa. So that's draft. Now what happens after draft? Well, we get a week. You build your team. You set up the... I didn't even realize that my thing disconnected. Oh, there's the lovely music. But afterwards, you get your chance to build your teams. Now, you can trade with anyone. Typically, trades are allowed. Will always have a captain. Oh, wow. Thank you, Donovan. You reminded me of something. How do captains work? Well, let's say we get to this scenario where everyone has a captain except for Team 8. Well, let's say you go for some other pick. Yeah, let's say they go for two other picks, whatever. They don't have a captain. We're going up, Team 6 gets Bowser, Team 5 gets Bowser Jr., Diddy Kong, and Donkey Kong. Let's just say this scenario where every captain gets picked except for one. And Team 2 wants Waluigi. Well, they can't because every captain is taken up to this point. So Waluigi is guaranteed to be on Team 8 no matter what. Now, this adds some strategy. Because if you don't care what your captain is, and your team, building your team has like nothing to do with the actual captain, you can just keep voting or keep letting people pick because you're always guaranteed a captain. You'll get it. Now, is it the best strategy? Not always. If your team's like hyper reliant on not having a certain captain, you should make sure you don't get that captain. But I really hate this. I do not. It's 41 minutes in. I don't want to re-record this. Sorry about that. Where was I? Yeah. So they votes or picks would keep happening, and then Team A can wait to put Waluigi on their team until literally the last pick, where it has to be Waluigi, no exceptions about it. After draft, you will build your team. We'll post it in the. So going back to this RSL, you will post it in the positions chat, which, as you can see by the Kremlin Crushers, you can do it in however. This is the base format that I like seeing, where it's character name, their position is this number is their batting order, and this is their position on the field. Another acceptable thing is editing this graph, but still give me positions. On top of that, you will also give me the name of your team. Typically, anything is acceptable. It just has to be 2 words is the max. And no, like, slurs or something, like, weird. Just, like, let's try keeping it somewhat normal. And if you'd like, you can give me a coach. Oh, and give me a star player as well. A star player basically gives +1 to all the stats. I forgot to mention this when talking about characters, but, it's pretty simple. They just get slightly better at everything. But you only get 1, so that's an opportunity cost thing. After that, we wait till our games. You can go to public trade talk if you want to make any trades. The last trade we had was a Firebro for Goomba, which was interesting. Oh yeah, and here's the Green Para for Goomba trade. Man, Tyler was a fiend when looking at the trade. And we wait the 1 week until we play. Depending on your order, depends on which conference you're in. You will play each of your in-conference mates twice and out-of-conference mates or out-of-conference teams once. So there do wind up being like easier and tougher conferences, but overall, good teams will make tournaments. I think there's yet to be like a good team that I think has failed to make tournaments. There's been teams I wish had made tournament that didn't, RIP the don'ts, but there is, even regardless of if you are, a team that is, good, but in a really tough league, or a bad team that's in a really easy league. Either way, everyone is roughly equal to get their tournament. Of course, if you're a good team in a bad league, you're much more likely to get higher. So, how do rankings work to determine that those special 6 spots? There it is. Well, After each game, your game score will be calculated. Let's go up here. There you go. Red Sox v Misfits. Man, this is like taking no time at all to reopen or to like turn my controller off. Now, as you can see, there's a 3-point difference, and the Red Sox have won. So Red Sox go 1-0 against the Misfits with a +3. What this means in your round differential is we add a +1. So here the Red Sox went from a 6-3 to 7-3, and they went from +2 to +5. And Misfits lost 3 points, going from a -10 to a -13. And it goes, how this works is it goes primarily off of this first one, your regular win. So as you can see, 8-2, 7-3, 7-3, 5-5s, all the way down to the Blues at the 1-9. Then, if you are tied game-wise, let's say Baddies Red Sox, we'd see a +19 and a +5. So +19 goes higher. This is your round differential. And why you want to get you want to get huge wins and close losses. And finally, if they wind up being tied, we go off of the most recent win. So in this example of Red Sox and Baddies are, let's say hypothetically, they both went +5. In their last bout, the Baddies took home the win, meaning Baddies would be above the Red Sox in that instance. Now, you might think, oh, it's weird that why don't just let all 8 teams play? Well, what happens is, and why these 2 spots are so coveted, first and second get a bye in the tournament. How the tournament works is that 4th and 5th will play against each other, 3rd and 6th will play against each other. The winner of 3rd and 6th faces 2nd. The winner of 4th and 5th places 1st. The winner of those 2 matches play each other for the finale. Oh, excuse me. How main season works is you will choose, if you are on the left side of the schedule, so let me just pull that up real quick. If you're on the left side of the schedule, let's say the Garlic Knots, you ban. You choose one of these 7 maps you do not want to play. Castle and Playroom count as the same. Stadium and Mansion count as the same. So if I ban Stadium, you cannot pick Mansion. And the team on the right, in that example, the Blues, they pick. They pick the map, and then what if they want it day or nighttime. Tournament is a little different, as it's mostly on deciders. So in the in quarters, where it's 5th and 4th phase, 3rd and 6th place, it's ban, 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 decider. And whoever picks first will choose if it's daytime or nighttime. Whoever picks second ultimately chooses between the last 2 available. In quarters, it's it's a best of 3. So it's ban, ban, pick, pick, ban, ban, decider. Where again, picking first chooses day or nighttime of decider, picking second does not. And finally, we have grand finale where it's pick, pick, ban, ban, pick, pick, decider, where the decider is on a coin flip if it's day or night. In tournament, it is 9-inning games. In regular season, they are 7-inning games. This is important because of stamina retention. Basically, the longer games go, the more likely your pitchers are going to have to swap out. As I alluded to earlier in this video, captains will always switch on if they are able to, which can really ruin your outfield, and is why you should never play a captain in the outfield, unless you are doing a weird double captain team where both captains have outfield synergy, like Amari and Luigi with a, with a Yoshi outfield is one example where you could definitely get away with it. So, in tournament, it's very likely that you can see a pitcher get off the mound, and that could obviously, or you're more likely to see your pitchers get off and go deeper into your pitching lineup, which can sometimes cause problems, which is why you want to have at least a somewhat deep pitching lineup. It's recommended that you have 2 good pitchers and a decent tertiary pick. This is typically a non-captain, a captain, and then depending on what your team is looking like, either another non-captain if you have like Boo, or potentially another captain if you are just rocking two. Though do be warned, you can't really choose who comes in. We don't really know what determines it. Uh choose if you have multiple captains, whoever you choose to be your official captain on that team does get a 1 star power reduction. So star power normally costs 2 for captain or for non-cap for captains. But if they are actually the namesake of their team, it only costs 1 for them. What else is there to explain about this? There are a few other things that just happen in the league. For instance, we have this full rules doc for everything. What else is here? Oh yeah, the VODs we record, all of us. If you're here Friday or Sunday, you get to see us, you know. You get to see yourself in a video whenever we post it. The finals, we do a bingo. This last season was an interesting bingo. I'm getting off the top of my head who wound up winning it this season. I think, oh yeah, Alyssa won it again. Alyssa keeps winning the bingos. It's a little funny. There's also some me suggestions in case, you know, you ever want to suggest a me. We do a vote at the beginning of the season. I believe the vote will end soon, so we'll know officially who our me's are. And that's about it. We do some like balance patches, some new stuff. For instance, this one was the introduction of the alternates, which, again, if you want a full breakdown of the alternates and our thoughts and opinions, there's a 2-hour video. The captains are at the beginning. Scrub to whoever you like. And each color also gets 3 me's. They synergize with each other and their colors. As you can see, Jacob's been very nice in color coding who matches with who. So as you can see, the light green background, these guys have synergies, and so on and so forth. Is there anything else I am forgetting? I guess the last thing I can go over is the stat sheet, the thing I kind of blinded you guys with earlier. This is Jacob's magnum opus. He keeps track of all the MVPs. We know the totals. Now, the cool thing about this is we know that the top 9 players from each conference at the end of Game 6 go into this All-Star game where everyone start up and we just see what happens. Last season was a very close one. Very fun to watch. Honestly, Season 4 was a really good season. But, and as you can see here, some characters, you know, went a little crazy this last season. Of course, these two from the, what's it called? From the 2 grand finalists. We also keep track of pitching, which adds onto this. And yeah, this just gives us like a really wide insight. Oh, that's Season 4. A really wide insight into what's happening. And then the top me for each color gets a buy automatically. And I think that's about it. That's like everything that a new player would really need to know about this. I would say when you're building a team, try getting like a concept in mind. For instance, if you are, let's look at how I wound up building the Dreadnoughts in Season 3, so I don't have to spoil anything. Because some people have been talking to me about their teams, but I don't want to spoil anything. So let's go about the Dreadnoughts building process, where I wanted to build a team that was centered around King Boo. This is who I wanted my centerpiece around. And I figured I would be able to get him immediately. And lo and behold, we get to 8. And I technically delay my pickup of King Boo. I go immediately for the 2 critters because I know King K. Rool has synergy with King Boo. So I immediately go with him, and at the time, Green Critter, who has now been retired for Albino Critter. And which he would have been really good to have on this team, but regardless, I start building. I grab K. Rool, I grab the critter, or where'd he go? I grab the critter. Then next turn, I grab the 2 Boos. Then even further, I grab a Hammer Bro, who for some reason is still here, and a Dry Bones. And then from there, I grab the synergy pieces. I want to have synergy between my Dry Bones and Boo, because at the time they did not have synergy with each other. So I picked up a Crazy Dave. And I wanted synergy between, at the time, Green Critter and Hammer Bro. So I picked up Forest. Now, as you can see, this is only an 8-player team, and I didn't have a captain. I believe this was before I even picked up Forest. I think I had only picked up Crazy Dave, or maybe I did. I think I picked up Forest at this point, but I didn't pick up Crazy Dave. Where I saw my 2 captain options were Yoshi and DK, and I didn't want Yoshi. So it was at this point that I said, you know what? Let's pick up DK. And this is how DK Dreadnoughts formed. It was an idea that I want to build around King Boo, and that's why I knew I wanted Boo, Dry Bones, a White Me, and then a K-Roll. And then from there, I picked up some synergy pieces. I was like, I can build upon the Critter, Force, and Hammer Bro. And the captain was an afterthought. We've had some other successful teams where the captain was the forefront, like Tyler's Baddies, where Bowser was the main front. So he wanted to build around Bowser, so he picked up some bro. He picked up Dry Bones. He picked up Junior. Like, he committed to it. And as you can tell by the fact that he is the Season 4 champion, you know, it worked. But when building, it's good to have, like, a decent idea. I do have backups because you never know who's going to take what. But I would say important things to get is infield. My infield was Critter and Hammer Bro. Other good infields includes the Yoshis because of Tongue Catch. Hammer Bros with their magic, you know. All the bros have their magic grab where he uses ice, he uses, well, technically he uses fire, but I'm trying to retexture that. He uses a boomerang and he uses a hammer. The Keeper dives, which are crazy dives. The magic grabs, where they use, the Magic Koopas just use magic. The Shy Guys, who have a very nice, really weirdly hitbox dive. And, of course, you cannot forget the man, the myth, the legend, PD Piranha, who dives so far, he normally gets a double play just by catching the ball and landing gracefully on second base. It is absurd, and that's why he costs 2. Is there anything? And the main thing, make sure you have an outfield. Just have an outfield, please. Please don't be another Blues. I do not want to watch a team with no outfield just get destroyed by every single, like, critter that walks up to the plate. I don't want to see it. We have the technology. We have Koopas. We have Toads and, like, a Toadette. We got the Yoshis and a baby Luigi, #1 prospect season 5. He MVP'd against Bowser. I still can't believe he did that in testing. But, like, point is, we have outfield. Anyways, dogs are gonna get upset now because I'm getting upset now. I'm crashing out so hard over the Blues. Anyways, thank you for watching. I hope this has boosted your understanding and not made you even more confused into the RSL in general. And I hope you all have a wonderful day.